Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another installment of Heel Section. My name is Rafa Spars. I hope you're having a lovely day. It should be a lovely day because there's wrestling going on, and it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. I know we say this a lot, and we do mock the WWE for, Vince is the worst, but it is an actual good time, and there are plenty of things to talk about, which is why we bring our good friend Mike Stallings on to talk about all things pro wrestling. Mike, how are you, sir?
It is a lovely day in the neighborhood. A lovely day in the. It's they only say it once, I think, though. You got the whole song stuck in my head thing. It's a
Good.
beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Speaking of songs getting stuck in your head, I want to lead off with Brock Party because
Mm.
do we get to this point where we look at Brock and we go, why are we going to re-sign him? That's so stupid. We don't need to spend, oh, is he got that into a boombox? Oh, that's the best part of Raw now. Okay, I'm into it. Great job. Good investment, Vince.
I mean, are they gonna have replica boombox? They have to have a replica boombox now, right? That plays Bluetooth.
God, I hope so.
You know what I mean? Is there an actual song that comes out? Do they play one for him now?
No, but every one of the mixes that I've seen, starting from the one you sent me on forward, has been nothing but hot fire. Every time there's just a song playing, it's just genius.
What does Brock really listen to, though? What do you really think he listens to?
Oh, definitely not any of this.
He listens to whatever Garth Brooks' alter ego was.
He's super angry of that Billy Ray Cyrus Lil X song being like, oh, it ruins what I love.
I would imagine Brock Lesnar being at the Billy Ray Cyrus residency at the Orleans, July 8th through the
Wow.
13th.
We are not getting paid from any of these people. I do not endorse any part of this. I forgot that one of the benefits of living in Vegas is for you definitely read all of those signs 24/7.
Well, I really thought of you, and not this Saturday, but next Saturday, your boyfriend, Fighter and the Kid, are doing a live show over at the Orleans.
Do not enjoy them.
That should be an interesting crowd for sure.
You know what it is if they said the Fighter and the Kid Midas Brandon shop, I'd be like, oh, I'd go to that.
So just the kid. At
Yeah,
that
the
point?
Kid 100% would be there for Brian Callen.
He has a stand-up special that I need to watch. It's very animated. Anyway, as we digress back to Boom Brock Box.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to do the Radio Raheem meme with him, but it kind of didn't. His arms just look funny at that point.
He's a strange human being, period. So I don't know how much memes really work or do not work with him.
He just has that one meme where he's in the "what's that" mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna trump. That's like the sad Jordan. I was listening to something. There's a subset of people that won't know Michael, that are so young they don't know Michael Jordan as a basketball player, but they just know him as the sad Jordan meme.
Yeah.
So you think Brock's in that category? Like, what's that?
I mean, anything that keeps you relevant. That's the hardest part about wrestling. If you really think about it, and people talk about Sting, you realize that sometimes they're just going to go, oh, the Crow. And you go, oh, you weren't around for Beachbody Sting. Oh my God, to me, that's really Sting. This other thing was like, yeah, that's what he stuck with so he could grow old. But I always think of somebody just climbing on the top rope and then putting his hands together and yelling at the audience as to amplify it. And I never quite got why he was doing that because it really wasn't like he was yelling anything at them.
Well, it was just a way to get out his adrenaline
Mm-hmm.
that came with it was coming out of his hair. It was coming out of his paint. I just wish he would have yelled, "You don't have to put on the red lights."
There is a photo of the two Stings. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it is kind of glorious.
Rocks. Is there a move that starts with the rocks?
No.
Anyway. So, what does Brock Lesnar listen to? What was your pick?
No, it has to be Deep Country. That's the only thing I think he listens to. So I would say like Waylon Jennings, but like
Merle.
one album on repeat.
He only calls them by their first name, though.
Yeah.
I listen to Waylon.
Put on some Waylon for me, Sable. Because I don't know. That's
Chop
what he's-
this tree with my hands.
I will say this. I love that whenever we see these stupid ideas, we get really angry And the immediate note is Vince is an idiot, Triple H is a genius by comparison. And that's really what the sense of it is. I can almost guarantee this is a Vince idea because it sounds so much like Vince just goes into the meeting and says, well, you know, Brock, we were thinking maybe you could hold on to a boombox, but the Money in the Bank would be the boombox. And it's like, that's stupid. And then Brock just goes, yeah, I mean, the check's clear, so I'll do whatever you want. Cool.
Well, isn't that the whole problem with... Isn't that the whole scuttlebutt right now? Is that that's just what's going on with everything? But the people that aren't getting paid, like Brock Lesnar, don't... That they care now? That was the whole Dean Ambrose, like, Johnny Moxley gripe. Is that they're pushed in a direction that they don't really want to have to deal with unless they're coddled, like Brock. It makes me think like they're almost like making him like the heir apparent to the Fox robot, almost. Like, wouldn't that be like a great ticker, like some NFL on Fox, and it's just Brock with the boombox just going across your screen, whatever.
Oh, wow.
Like whatever team on both sides of the boombox just. Yeah, I mean, but Vince has that part. It's weird. Like you say, Vince has this part in his brain that he just doesn't care, but it also caters to a part of her brain that wants to shut off. And sometimes,
I don't even know that he doesn't care. Like, Vince does care.
About what he cares about.
But that's the whole thing is he has a very, very distinct idea of what will pass as entertainment. And when they hit big. And when they miss, you're like, whoa, why would you ever pitch that? And I don't know that anybody who's ever been on the internet has ever had the ability to be in a creative position before where not everything's a home run, dude. Like, clearly the hits eclipse the misses. So I get that. And I do get it's frustrating because everybody's like, oh, it's so overbooked and I was like, have you ever read any of these people go online and start to describe how they picture it would go? It's terrible. It's never good. So to me, I love that passion. I love making fun of Vince is like the boss. Everybody makes fun of the boss. So it makes sense. But, I don't know how honest people are in their assessments of what is good and what is bad in wrestling. And I don't know that they're always super fair. But yeah, there's definitely a ton of ideas where you go, nah, Vince, I'm good on that one. Thank you, though. See you in the next round.
Well, and you also got to think about, too, like the amount of people that are really signed these days. Yeah. That's why AEW is almost a good alternative. Is like, how are you going to fit all these people into a brilliant storyline? That's why when something like the Becky and Ronda thing catches hot fire, they have to run with it. Or the Kofi thing catches hot fire, even though you're still sitting with, 2 hours and 42 minutes of other stuff that they're desperately trying to... Because that was my tweet, was the Raw after AEW, not to jump all over the place, but had Cesaro versus Ricochet and Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn. If those guys weren't signed to the WWE and they had matches on an AEW as their independent status, as Tyler Black versus El Generico and Ricochet versus Claudio Castagnoli, they'd be perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's timing of it, and it's just kind of like an overpopulation of it. Like, thank God AEW came around to give 50, 60 more wrestlers a place to actually have 2-3 hours. Because if they didn't, they'd have to maybe have 25 of them scrounge for, 6 minutes? It's kind of a double-edged sword because wrestling, we live in the fast pace. Let's go. You want more, but it's almost better if you have less with longer matches and shit like that.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. So I do like the idea that when WWE, they did that great meme for the day after Double or Nothing, which was, I believe it's Hawkeye who's being visited by Black Widow. And it's like, what do you mean the WWE's going to try now that AEW's here? And he goes, don't you do that. Don't you give me hope. And I said, yeah, no, that's about right. I understand that feeling quite well. So let's talk about the world of Double or Nothing, because that was one that you and I wanted to talk about right when we, didn't have a chance last week. But let's talk about it. You went from being lethargic to, oh, okay, yeah, I'm all in now.
Absolutely. I had a lot of self-realization during this.
How did the transformation happen, and when did it happen?
Well, during the show, it was solidified by whatever Cody and Gold Dustin put together as Brian Downey deemed him Gold Dustin. I was like, why hasn't anybody thought of that? But it, yeah, it was solid, and it made me think too. I was listening to something else today. They were saying how WWE is sports entertainment and AEW is professional wrestling. It's like, no, they're both the same thing. It's just a different pace with a different setting with different production. It's finally a good alternative. It's something that was needed. Yeah, I was being stubborn because, like I said, we're fucking spoiled. We've been to PWG, that whole speech. But to have that crowd, I think it was a combination of a lot of stuff. It felt new. It felt like a big thing because there was legitly 20,000 people, had that big fight feel. You know what I mean? It was the first ever of something, their first pay-per-view that they were getting off of that, even though they already did All In, which was kind of like, a pilot almost.
Mm-hmm.
Would you call it? Would that be like a legit pilot?
Yeah. They call those things backdoor pilots sometimes. It's like when you see, Family Matters and Perfect Strangers before it, you go, what? What's Winslow doing here? Why are they spending so much time on him and not Balky? This is, it's going to be a show now. I get it.
Oh, because it was going to become a part of TGIF.
Mm-hmm.
I like Just the 10 of Us myself. That was my jam.
God.
That was my jam.
Every once in a while, that song will get in my head, and I do definitely love that old dad in that show. It's the epitome of, did this make it to syndication, and how? Because there are some shows that you kind of look at and you go, how did that happen? That was too quick. How did you guys get syndicated? That doesn't make sense.
And why do I know that he was a basketball coach? That's the most fucked up thing about it.
Because it's the intro. They make sure. That's the thing I do miss about theme songs, if I can get on a soapbox here, everybody. I miss when theme songs told you what the fuck to expect from the show in 30 seconds. Because they told you all about the characters. They had them do their shit that they're supposed to do in character. Now it's just like, even when you get to The Office, you got to see like, oh, okay, you get a little glimpse of everything. But in the last seasons of The Office, it was just like, and done. We're not trying. We're done. We need more time to joke.
That's why the best theme song for wrestling was the second hour of the old school Raw is War, because you knew what you're. It's the light, it's the moment, it's the time to be. Like, you knew, it explained everything, even though you understood nothing.
God, there's something about, I feel like the UFC's new theme song on ESPN, it has a weird, as like, and it's always reminding me of the Nickelback era of Raw. And it just always is like, wait, it sounds the exact same. It just felt like I went backwards in terms of theme song music. And I don't know anybody else calls them out on that, so I'll let them live.
What about when Green Day was the SmackDown intro?
Yeah, all right.
Like legitly for a while. Well, speaking of UFC, there was that hot headline that your very close friend would
He's
now
very,
be the
very
time,
good friend.
because there was two rumors. Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
There was two rumors back to the Boom Brox, that he's cashing in tonight, which I'm trying to live stream it on my phone, and I'm watching a Dodger game too, which is a lot to do. But that Matt Riddle was going to stop him. He tweeted out, "I'll be there, bro," in total Matt Riddle fashion, and that would now be the time for your very close friend and possibly in studio guest GSP to show up.
Well, okay. So why am I bringing GSP on the show, I guess is what I'm asking. Because I have to use like my Batman Red phone to bring him on the show. And I need a good reason, because he doesn't just show up for no reason. Well,
there was, because you posted on the page that that he had stated that Vince had asked him to make an appearance and that he would think about it.
Yeah, I did say that.
That was in two pieces. I clumped them together. That
Yeah.
he was approached by Vince was the first one, and then the second one that he might do a special appearance. And that sounds very foxy to me, considering
Yes.
considering
It's real foxy. It's real sexy of him. Let's see what he has to say about it.
how it does GSP.
All right.
Can I talk to
Yeah,
GSP?
yeah, that's fine. I can put him on the
Do you
line.
know him?
Yeah, I do know him. Why?
Does he call you on the phone?
Oh God. Okay, listen. I'm not talking to you anymore, but I'm just saying this. I can only cash this chip so many times. So I usually borrow him for the other show that I do, but I will make an exception for this one. Give me a second. Let me go find GSP. But make sure don't ruin this for me. Okay?
How would I ruin it?
I don't know.
Because you might be giving me the lead on something. That's how sad.
Listen, I want you to just understand that GSP is a special once-in-a-lifetime human being. And now he's retired, so now he's got other shit that he can do. So, just say that.
It's just trying to make me nervous that I'm going to be in the presence of greatness on Skype.
Well, how else do you want to do it? We don't have holograms yet. Anyway, let me go get GSP. All right. Hold on. Okay. That's me walking away. All right. 1 second.
I don't know what I'm going to say to GSP. This is the first time I've had a man up on an interview.
Hello. It is me, GSP. How are you?
GSP, we're good. Good. It's nice of you to join us to take a small break from your busy schedule, I'm sure.
Oh, this break is breaking my back, to say the least. It is an honor to be on the section of eels. Very pleased to be here. Who am I speaking to?
This is Mike Stallings, otherwise known as Potty Piper, from time to time. I don't know if that's ever going to stick.
Losing GSP, going to run away now.
GSP, well, let me ask you before you go real quick. Is there truth to the rumor that GSP from the UFC may be B in the WWE?
Let us make one thing very clear. GSP is the only one who can rhyme. That is in my contract. But yes, there's been some rumor that GSP may do the thing where he show up and the WWE was very interested in me, to say the least.
Well, are you worried that it might happen? What has been happening to a lot of wrestlers might happen to you, that they take away your last name SP and that you just become G?
No, you could never do that with GSP. GSP is like Oprah. You know, like he is a one name kind of a thing.
I understand. I understand that, but that might be too much to put on a T-shirt. You know what I mean? And if you are going to be a G, wouldn't you have to be a certified GSP?
Oh, well, I know one thing for sure, which is that cannot be taught.
Do you know? Do you have a catchphrase, GSP?
Oh, absolutely. GSP would show up day one, and he would go over to Undertaker, and he would say, GSP is not impressed with the caliber of your performance. And then, like, people would go, oh, they go, that's right, GSP out, and I would drop mic. But then I would pick it up because I am also French-Canadian, and that would be very rude to just leave it there like that.
When does the cartwheel come into play?
There would definitely be some flips. GSP do 450 splash, but it is very difficult because I punch kick, and I've tussled around in the ring, and I've accidentally punch kicked two people too many times.
How would you feel about Undertaker getting past your guard?
Oh God, Undertaker, best striker in the world, according to Michael Cole. Never forget that. The most technical striker, I think I would have to let him pass guard so that I could recover it and surprise him with armbar. Shh, do not tell Undertaker.
So he sounds pretty serious about doing this, G.
No. GSP would never do it, but for right amount of money, he would show up for a special event. But never, no. GSP is not interested unless you have the money. Read between the lines.
So, are you gonna follow suit with your brother Connor and start a liquor label?
Oh, no, no, no. GSP just, he ingest the liquor with the ladies. You know what I'm saying? GSP does not, okay, here's the trick. GSP drinks juice, but the ladies drink the alcohol. Wink.
So you just pretend? Do you pretend that there's alcohol in the GSP drink?
No, I definitely do not. Wink.
All right, GSP. I think we're losing steam here. I think you're gonna have to ask me a question here
For
pretty soon.
GSP has to ask you a question? Okay. This is definitely where Bit GSP thought would go. Okay. Mike,
Okay, do I have one more, GSP? Then who is your favorite wrestler in the WWE right now? Who would you say your biggest influences, or who you would model your sports entertainment style after?
well, so hard because when you are French Canadian, if you do not say Bret Hart, you are shot. So, number one, in my heart, Bret Hart. Number two, oh, that is a tough question.
Did you feel bad for Brett when he fell out of the ring 3 times?
I would like to point out one thing, which is Bret Hart. Very lucky to have him still.
Like he's lucky to be alive?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We're still very lucky to have him. Period. End of sentence.
I don't know, GSP. I don't know if people are gonna like that, but you are certified
4 out of 10. GSP is very aware of your wrestling acumen. So here's what I would say to you: Do you
Six
have
stars.
Do you have any last request for GSP? Would you like to see GSP cut a promo? Maybe give you an idea of what it would sound like.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you cut it on me?
Oh, can GSP cut it on you? All right, great. Tell me your favorite TV show growing up.
My favorite TV show growing up as a kid?
Listen, GSP has no time for this. Like, just do the thing.
Muppet Babies.
Okay, Muppet. Wow. Okay, very interesting choice there. Okay, and tell me the street corner in which you grew up on.
On Coda Street.
All right, Coda Street and Muppet Baby. All right, I have it. You listen here, Stallings Michael. I have many things I do not like. For number one, GSP no like cigarettes. Number two, GSP hates steroids, which, by the way, do I have to take those now? Oh, shit. Okay. GSP is okay with steroids because money is okay. And number three, if you want to see something get ruined more than the pure essence of the Muppets, aka Muppet Baby, then you will go against me, GSP, who will ruin you more than Muppet Baby ruined the Jim Henson Company. But you will not know that until you fight me, GSP, in the sea, eloquently, vis-a-vis.
Yeah, I don't know if I can come back from that, actually. What do you say to that? Like, are you training to be a battle rapper?
Yes, GSP has spent many a night battle rapping people. This bit has gone on for too long. GSP knows his time. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say thank you very much for tuning in. For me, GSP, if you came to hear me talk about MMA thing, go on the other one, Tap Verbal with Philips Kevon and the other guy. But for now, it has been very fun. Thank you guys for having me on. My name is GSP. I have classed up this show. Ole, 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 ole. GSP. Maybe come to the WWE.
Wow. Wow, we were really lucky to have that drop in.
Hey, GSP, good to see you, buddy. All right, well, I'll catch you later. Hey, did you? Okay. Sorry, door closed. Did you ruin anything?
I, my name? Absolutely. What are you talking about? My
want-
opener was the
no.
worst thing you've ever heard in my life.
Which
I tried
was
telling
what?
I told them my stupid podcast nickname of all for fuck's
That was a
sake.
choice.
Yeah, I know. I just got nervous. You know what? You're just verbal diarrhea. He's a world champion, and you know I
Excuse
don't
me,
know
did I
enough
leave my
about
key
the.
in here?
Oh shit!
Are my
Here,
keys
don't tell
here?
my.
I want to make sure I did not leave my keys in the studio. Oh, thank you, Ref. Very nice of you. GSP, good to see you, man. No, Mike says great things about you right now. We'll catch you later, bud. Okay, you tell him I say bye. Oh, definitely. I'll make sure to tell him that. Don't you fuck this up for us in the future.
Dude, listen. You know, that's the first time you've ever left me alone. I gotta sit here and do an interview with the world class
I thought you were grown up enough.
With Cart Wild. No, of course not. The minute you leave, I'm just in like, you go back to talking about AEW and like what was good about it? Jesus.
Sure. All right, let's go down the line. First of all, from the top, what did you think about the main event?
The main event?
Yeah.
The main event, it was just like almost like WrestleMania. The main event was stymied by the goodness of I cried my eyes out for Cody Goldust and the audacity for them to put that 2 away from the main event. He almost suffered from burnout, but the main event was as expected. You know what I mean? It's just crazy the way Jericho keeps reinventing himself, and he knows that enough to put that into his entrance. That he's aware that he's been that good this whole time, and no matter what persona he has, he's going to change his style and go after. You know what I mean? Is Kenny Omega still the best wrestler in the world for Chris Jericho to hang with him like that in the main event? Is this the caliber of a WrestleMania main event? Is my question to you on my ramble.
Yeah. I mean, would you say it was better than this year's WrestleMania main event?
Oh my god, the hype, not as much. I think the hype was better done for this year's WrestleMania, but the whole fact. When's the last time you've seen a WrestleMania, end with a debut?
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like a returning debut of, somebody that's been talking about, and they didn't know if it's kayfabe or not, and I never was that high on Dean Ambrose. I didn't think he was the biggest thing, but this just put him over the edge to he's almost like the new face of wrestling at this point.
Yeah, I was very happy for Dean to get the attention that he did, and it actually felt like a moment. It felt like we built to something that made sense. For him to come out, like, all of us had the feeling like that's where he's going, but the execution of it and the fact that it was made to feel special, and getting even the peak, not a year away from it, not 6 months away from it, that next day with Being the Elite, and them showing you some of the footage very soon right after it happened, it makes you feel a part of it. And I think that thing's got close to about 1 million views right now. So that's damn impressive, dude. Like, that's a good way to start. And I know you're saying a little bit about Cody and Dustin not getting the main event slot, but that's in retrospect. And I know that Cody's, one of the central figures behind it, but it's hard to follow that, of course. But could that match have gone wrong? Like, in retrospect, yeah, sure, again, great. But I think it was slotted where it needed to be. I think it did exactly what it's supposed to be.
No doubt. It wasn't their fault. That wasn't the intention. I just don't think anybody thought it was going to be as good as it really was. It felt. That's what I was saying before about the sports entertainment versus pro wrestling. It was almost like a wrestling buffet to where they gave you right there. They were giving you a throwback to. It almost felt like a Clash of Champions. They wanted it to feel like a WCW in the 80s, and that's why they did the blood spot, and it would only be appropriate because it's Dusty's kids. I mean, they knew where their slot was. Are they going to do it all the time? Probably not, but for them to understand that the timing of it was now to do that. On also a card, you could put the AAA titles, a lucha style sprint on right after, and then have all of it collide with varying styles with Kenny Omega, because he'll be fast paced, but Jericho, old age or whatnot, but his more hardcore style. So when you say, what do you think of the main event? I think the main event was actually all 3 of those matches all rolled into one, because you don't really care who wins the belts at that point. There was really there's no belt involved.
Sure.
In the Hangman Page thing with him winning the Battle Royal was kind of forced, but it was almost that was what's supposed to happen. And sometimes when you do what was supposed to happen, it kind of just works out, and you don't have to overcomplicate it. And I think that's what is cool about AEW. Like it thinks it like single serving because it knows how fast paced it is. That's why you dug on the being the elite because it was the next day, but they also showed you what was happening before. You know what I mean? Dean Ambrose standing outside the curtain, waiting. And you're almost like, you already know what happened, but you're like, damn, yeah, you felt like you were a part of it. You were right there with him. That's something that WWE does kind of sometimes.
Sometimes, but they never break that way. They still have that element of a little bit of don't talk about wrestling. You know, show it, but don't talk about it. This felt like pretty close to talking about it without having to say the words. And, of course, that doesn't even get into the fact that Jericho then had Ambrose on his podcast. And I only read the transcript, but I read a lot because that transcript was fucking long. And it did describe the detail of Dean. Did you read that or watch that?
Yeah, I know. I read basically what you read. And what I find interesting is the amount of, which they're trying to keep hush-hush, is the amount of wrestlers that supposedly feel the same way. And when their contract expires, they can't wait to do the podcast with Jericho because they 100% felt like what all that shit that Dean was saying. And that's what I had brought up earlier with if you force Brock to do it, he's not going to care because he gets all that money. But if you're somebody that cares,
yeah,
then you know what I mean. And somebody told me poor Ricochet. I was like, for what? Not right now. Like if it keeps on going on for like a year and a half, then start saying poor Ricochet because there's no creative. But he's just happy to be there at this point.
I think Ricochet is probably just enjoying the money, and good for him. So I have no issue or qualm with that. And there is something nice about knowing that some of that talent is on its way out, and that he's there at a good time to kind of shine before he's got to call it a day at some point. Because you look over at AJ Styles and you go, yeah, okay, could they do that with Ricochet as well? Like, there's a lot of things that you could do. So I don't know if that chapter has been closed just yet.
Well, what's the next big, like you brought up AJ Styles, so
yeah.
Is Dean Ambrose is at the peak of it? So if AJ leaves, his contract expires, which I think he signed. Let's say he somehow gets out of it, and he shows up in 7 months. Is that as big as effect as Dean, or does Dean?
I think it would be huger, actually. I think Dean was the first. Oh shit! It could happen, but I mean, we already knew it. It was just, again, it comes down to one of the best things for pro wrestling is always you know it's going to happen, but yet you still feel kind of good about it. And I think that was the feeling we got with AEW, and that was a lot of what was happening. You knew that Cody was going to win, but they told a great story. And more importantly, that match, getting that match out of Dustin at this age, as many setbacks as he's had, is more than impressive. And I really do feel, in a sense of accomplishment, they did what they were supposed to. It was more than they were supposed to. And you look at it and you said, man, people who just did it the way it's supposed to be done pulled it off. And that's what we hope for. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe they could show us simpler is better. Maybe they can show us the investment's already there with half of these guys because they've already built resumes or they already have certain things. I'll tell you a couple things that impressed me because the Young Bucks, like the match was a normal Young Bucks match, so I wasn't up or down on it. I just thought, oh, okay, cool, they did that. And then on the same page, we talked about Jericho and Omega. I mean, that was the second time we saw it. It was good. I don't know that it beats the first time, but it was definitely like, okay, that does feel like a main event. But I think the hidden treasure of this whole thing was, even if every match was still something that you go, that's in the realm of what I expect, that still allowed for certain people to shine. So MJF having a defining moment, I think that's amazing because what he's doing is really funny. And if they leverage him right, that's how you build in your own stars to do their own thing. And they could say, yeah, he built himself elsewhere, but he really became a star there. And I feel like we got the beginnings of seeing that. The same thing with like getting to show Orange Cassidy's like bit to a larger audience. and having the audience already doing call and responses to it. It's like, are you up on this? Wrestling fans, are you really up on what's current? Because this is current. And I think it's been a long time since people have felt like, oh shit, I better know all these references. I better go look who that is. Because I think that happened for a couple of those wrestlers. And that's good business.
Well, what about No Legs too?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why they did a good job, like what you said with MJF and with the Battle Royal, because it gives you seeing these first guys, but also leaving an impression and having it fit all at once, and that's super hard to do on a first impression with like Luchasaurus and No Legs and Sunny Days and Sunny Kiss and all these different it almost made me feel like reinvigorated, because for once I didn't know some of the people and when they came from, and that's like you almost want to do the work, because when you get to be a Smark, you're like, I already saw the Young Bucks. But it's great to have the Young Bucks on a card. You know what I mean? It's always fun to have the Bucks. You get to say you saw them, and it's always they cut the same match, and you know what you get.
Yeah.
But I liked my favorite thing was the Jack Evans and Helico tag team match. Who did they fight again? Shit, I just completely drew a blank on that. Against Best Friends. Mm-hmm. That was the perfect combination of comedy and work. You know what I mean? These guys have been all over the place, from Ring of Honor, PWG, and then even when the Smash Brothers debuted, I was like, that's when I felt like a Smark, because a lot of people didn't know who they were, and I was like, yo, there's a Smash Brothers. So it was a good combination of all that. But yeah, MGF, to have them get Brett too, that was also a surprise. So watch the reaction of the crowd when they announced, and kudos to the announcer for the way he announced Brett. And I love, my favorite thing about All In is when they had like Bret Hart come out, or like Dean Ambrose, they had like the same music that they had in the WWE, but with just like little tweaks.
Yeah.
Like somebody just went on Garage Band or whatever the program is you kids are using these days.
And they just said, like, just turn up the reverb. It's fine.
Yeah, for sure. Just like some shitty wash over it.
Well, I mean, I always thought that was what they did at WCW, especially when you had Hogan come over and they're like, we need something patriotic but with a lot of guitar and just feeling nonsense. And they go, gotcha, covered. No worries about it.
My favorite thing is on the network, there's certain, I think, nitros. Mm-hmm. That they didn't pay for the rights to the music, so they have to play like a completely different song over it.
Like, I mean, if again, retrospect is easy to do, but maybe on paper, when your top talent says, "Can you give me a Jimi Hendrix song?" Maybe, I don't know, maybe say no.
Have you heard that Hannibal Buress joke where he talks about that he didn't know that was Jimi Hendrix? Like, he found out that was Jimi Hendrix after he saw Hulk Hogan come out and do the whole guitar bit. So he only knew.
No,
he only knew Black Voodoo as the Hulk Hogan, and like, how would Jimi Hendrix be a part of that? Like, he couldn't understand for a couple of years until his dumb brain was like, oh shit. Well, AEW changed my mind. I did a lot of self-reflecting, and it was like, I didn't want to get on the bandwagon. And then I thought to myself, man, WWE's in trouble.
Okay.
They're in trouble with this because this is cool. This is fresh. This is almost like when the NWO started, but without all the, like, Sons of Anarchy bullshit. But then, because you want to know what the WWE is going to answer, that's why I said the Raw after. And I think they almost trolled the fans by having the first hour just be all talking at that point, because they knew what was going to happen on Saturday. And my God, did they outdo themselves once again, which is crazy, because when you were talking before, it wasn't better than any other takeover. If you had to go, there's a 25th takeover. If you had to be like, what was the best takeover? It'd probably be somewhere in the middle. Brooklyn was pretty good. War Games was always good. But every fan has the same reaction to that single dose of NXT when it's done fucking properly. And it shows not only that NXT, but the WWE can still get their shit together when it's done fucking properly.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't have a ladder match on AEW. They didn't have all these vicious bumps. They didn't have. I don't know if I could compare Gargano Cole to anything on the card. You know, it was more of there was good storytelling, but it was more of a sprint. The story was kind of told through the match, and that's what I get a kick out of NXT, because sometimes on the card you're like, hey, why'd they throw this together? But then when it's all said and done, you're like, oh, okay, all right, touche, Triple H, because it's all him. Yeah. It has to be all him, of course. So, yeah, NXT TakeOver was almost as good as AEW.
So here then lies the question, which is, what do you now expect, having seen this from AEW when they debut in the fall?
They're going to stick to their guns, because, you know, what if Dusty wouldn't have died and Cody didn't leave and stayed and AEW was never formed? What if the Bucks had signed with Ring of Honor? You know, they didn't, and everything happened and came together. That's why, is the show on TNT going to be in the style of being the Elite? Mm-hmm. I mean, is TNT ready to make that kind of behind the curtain jump?
They know drama.
What's the deal with the backstage segments? Have you ever noticed?
I mean, I don't know much about TNT's identity on its own anymore, just in the sense that, well, think about it like this. When you think TNT, because they always say, what's the hallmark of, say, the network, or what is the branding of it? I was thinking about this the other day when I was in my car, and I go, Rizzoli and Isles? Monster and Bash? Wait,
is that
no,
Franklin and Bash? That's the one with Zach Morris and who is it? Giovanni Ribisi?
Nope.
Who is it? Who's the other? Oh, the guy from Road Trip.
That's him.
What's that guy's name?
Don't remember. I know him as either Franklin and or Bash because I never paid attention.
He has some weird name like Ewan or like Stockard.
I honestly don't remember because I never watched those shows. And there's a little bit of research that suggests that people just watch what's on sometimes. They don't necessarily watch what's on a network.
Okay. So how many shows can you remember that were on after Raw besides Silk Stockings?
Pacific Blue.
Is that the one with the bikes?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a morning version of that?
Pacific Morning Blue? Like, I don't remember. Sunset Blue? I know this. That when they said, hey, listen, Baywatch has all these horny teens watching it. How can we do that? They're like, well, I got this concept about people who are bike cops and they're on bikes and we can put it on after Raw, but you can kind of do what they do on Baywatch. Like, fine, just fucking sell it. I don't care.
The meeting before that was like, what are we going to... You ever read Penthouse Forum? Done.
Then don't forget, didn't they used to have like Up All Night and all these other things
with Rhonda Shear?
Up
All Night. No, and then my favorite is what they have going on now. You ever kept up with the Chrisleys?
Oh God, no.
Have you ever watched it?
I've watched maybe one or two episodes.
Is the best. It is magnifique. He is my spirit animal. My God, Raph, could you imagine? Like, if I was just like, but that was really me. That was really Raph. Listen to me. Listen, Raph. We have to talk like AEW right now. It was straight. Yes.
This dude, the first time I saw him, it makes me mad that reality TV exists. And I have this every once in a while. And I hate to explain this, but I remember when we were watching, I think one night, Ms. and Mrs., and I explained to one of my friends, I said, yeah, this is what he does. But he's kind of made for this. Like, Miz was essentially incubated in a reality TV sort of embryo to grow up to be this human being. And when people are like, "What do you think of the Miz?" and I go, "It's weird because I cheer for him and I'll watch a little bit of this because I don't really mind that he is this person. Would he be my best friend? I don't think so because it looks kind of like the D-bag does go into his real life sort of thing. But I wish him well and I hope he's doing well. And I don't mind it as long as I don't have to know him. So yeah, great. Good for him.
Who would you rather hang out with, him or Gronk?
Oh, I think Gronk is the type of stupid that doesn't offend me. Even though Gronk was on the Patriots, the team I hate the most, I think Gronk would just be like, "Hey, bro, you want party?" And I'd be like, "I can't hate you, kid. All right." If you really, really want to see some evil shit be done, make Gronk a fucking lobbyist in Washington and see what kind of nonsensical legislation gets passed through.
Maybe we can get him on the show next week and ask him if he's going to come back to the WWE.
Oh, God. That was something I really did have a thing where I go, "Oh, no, retiring at a young age. No, don't come here. No, I only like you to do one-off appearances, like GSP could."
Is that I think that's... I was trying to think that we're missing something. That you had another bullet point to go over.
I mean,
AEW.
It's the NXT takeover. So, did you have any major things about that one as well?
Yeah. Adam Cole, baby!
Did you cry your eyes out at that?
No, I was all... which is weird, because I thought about that. I kind of... I was more prone to tearing up the second time I watched a ladder match because the Street Profits deserved it. And I was getting mad that the last couple weeks on NXT TV that they should have given to her then. But then I reminisced. I was like, you know what? It was better for them to do this. Because you didn't see it. The camera angle, the bit was the Forgotten Sons had cleared the ring, like their muscle guy, Jackson Riker, came out, cleared the ring, but it took like 7 dudes to kill him. And then everybody did their spots, and then the Forgotten Sons were 2 left hanging, and one of them was going up. Buddy Murphy was climbing, and the other Forgotten Son that I forgot, was standing in the middle, and Andrew Dawkins came off the map and speared him through the ladder. So the camera got real close to Buddy Murphy, and then all of a sudden Montez just appeared jumped off the turnbuckle onto the ladder, but he just appeared in the camera shot, and they did the Home Alone eyeballs to each other, and then he did it, and the crowd went nuts, and they all had the red Solo cup. But the first time I didn't get sad. The second time I was like, yeah, they deserve it. That's good for them.
When you say that you were starting to get mad, I just picture you going into your brother mode and just, no, I don't like this.
But just doesn't let up. But we'll talk about something else, but constantly, every third word would just, refer back to how shitty. It's even with things he likes, too. If Kershaw's not pitching, say he throws 7 pitches during the bat, 3 of them are balls, he's fucking cussing or calling him a loser or an idiot. But it's Michael Elgin and Brian Cage. You can't get I think you reached the pinnacle of Jesus. Because is there anybody else that could? Well, let me ask you. Let's get serious again. What would it take for somebody for it to be a big deal for them to leave AEW and show up on WWE? Who, or is that ever going to be does that need to be to have it be solidified as this is Rick Rude showing up on Raw and Nitro on the same night?
I think the WWE is going to just pretend like it doesn't exist for a little bit, and that's going to be why it wouldn't necessarily come through as an oh shit moment. I think they're just going to kind of go, let it live.
Right. Well, they understand it's good for her. Sami Zayn brought it up on Raw. Velveteen Dream said follow that AEW. I mean, I don't think there's a taboo of, don't mention it because people are sheltered. Everybody fucking knows about it. It's not like it's like a secret. It's nothing to be scared of. I think they know they got to step their game up.
I also think that it's built in, they're just kind of Oh no, it's so taboo, but you're gonna watch us.
There's a conspiracy theory on it too now.
I've heard this.
Yeah, they're all in it together. You know who told me?
Who told you this?
Your friend
Who's this?
Eddie Bravo.
Oh God. No,
Mhm.
no, he didn't.
Yeah, he did. I saw him at the Worlds.
Oh God.
You ever
Wow.
gone there? You ever gone to the Worlds?
Yeah, I have.
I know. I was there.
You know, it's funny. Eddie Bravo would not go to the Worlds because it's a gi competition. So, just
Only geeks go there.
no, only gi.
Oh,
Anyway, here's what I want to tell you guys. Good try though. I want to make sure that people understand that when they do put together these things, and people do get very excited about them, it is very silly when we get down to these last little minutia moments and we go, listen, guys, we love you for tuning in. Now we're going to get to the Eddie Bravo conspiracy theories. Here's the one. And Eddie Bravo has nothing to do with professional wrestling. I know he does not like it. The real thing that people need to be aware of is there is the rumor, two people who legit think this, that they're in bed together. One might say they're all in together. They're already trying to tell you guys. So Illuminati shit right there. I don't care. Like, why would people spend this much money to be on TNT and TBS and like all this extra money? Like, it's so silly. If anything, they're maybe all in on the fact that, hey, yeah, we want more wrestling fans to exist because ratings went up huge during the era when people were competing against each other. We just don't live in that time anymore. I don't see people changing viewerships in a much higher way for a long period of time. Somebody just said Vince Russo. That's who I think they're saying said it. Yeah, Vince said it so that you would tune into his show. So really, really unexpected idea for him to be talking about something that might scandalize and trivialize and get you in.
I think somehow Vince is gonna make it about football somehow. Like he's gonna be like the winner or whoever wins the XFL bowl or whatever it is, the universal title of football. It's just gonna be a football with red with a plate on it. Anyway, that they're gonna have to play the Jaguars.
Yeah.
No, that was. Did you hear what I said? What are you?
I'm just saying, I think it's one of those things that will be slightly ridiculous as we go on. So, I don't know. I mean, Russo saying some nonsense, I think, was just to get you guys to tune in because what other things does he have to do these days? At this point, he's just like, I'm so bitter. I hate everything. Fuck you guys. So.
Yeah. How is he still relevant?
He's not, but turns like this are what help people to say, like, I don't know, man, Vince was in on it back in the day, so, like, he would know, and it's like, I don't know how much he knows anymore.
Yeah, well, I don't know if Cornette would really like GSP either, so, but that's just,
what doesn't he hate?
Two different eras we live in, sir, and that's why Vince McMahon can't keep his shit together because he's old, and he's just stuck in his ways, and Triple H is getting mad at it now, and no, they know what they're doing. They're still making millions of dollars, and they still have a long way to go with this whole Fox thing and boom box Fox.
I feel like we're in a weird holding pattern until it happens because there's so much that they got to go, oh, right, they're prepping for Fox and they're prepping for TNT.
Is that like a viable? Are they even on the same? Wouldn't TNT be like Division 3?
It's hard to say at this point now. I know that Fox is definitely the winner in terms of a notable, sizable audience, but now the ratings are getting so small on every network that, some days on a good day, cable's going to outdo all of your main networks. Let me see. It just says, Derek McCullough says, I still want Brock to play Jive Soul, bro.
That would be good. Whatever happened, Slick was great. See what? Is Paul Heyman the only real manager? Paul Heyman came out as Slick.
Oh, but, that would be fun. Yeah.
Brock Lesnar came out dressed up like Akeem.
Yeah,
but that would almost be like racist somehow.
I mean, yeah, you put anything near Brock, and there's a slight hinge of uh-oh.
Like, just redo the old promo. Remember the old promo when One Man Gang turned into Hakeem and he like spun? I don't know if he was about a bunch of trash can fires, and then like Slick was talking some cool jive turkey to him, and he was
God.
like, "Yeah, but
No.
I didn't ask my name, and I go back to my roots
Oh man.
in Ghana, where my prince told me he'd give me $30,000 if I rode the daishiki and the cross colors and some Carl Kanai out here on the streets of Stamford, Connecticut."
We had somebody, so we had Logan ask us, did you guys listen to Enzo on No Jumper?
No, that's why. Can we get GSP and Enzo in the same room?
I don't know. Then we also had Y2J look like shit, according to Logan. I mean, I don't know, dude. I've done some projecting on how I'm going to look at about 50. It's not looking great. So he looked just fine to me. It's just sucky when you're compared next to these young kids with their abs and their spray-on tan abs. So it's tough shit. Don't know what to say on
Jericho
that.
just looks like he sits in the back of the plane and has like 4 whiskeys or something.
Well,
It's okay.
there was also Jericho was talking about the physicality of it. Like, I think it's some BS in some extent, but if there's kind of a method actor approach to it, I feel like Jericho at least approaches it. I know that the excuse he was giving though was he was doing interviews to kind of promo AEW's Double or Nothing. And when he was saying it, he's like, yeah, I used to wear these, or I used to get all decked out in abs, but when I would wrestle in Japan, that doesn't do shit for you. People don't like that. They like you to have more of a stockier build. And I thought about it and I go, of the excuses I've heard, I just want to get fat. That's pretty good.
Well, look at what just happened in boxing. Now, does it matter at this point?
Oh, it's in now. So, Logan, you're on the minority on this one. And here's the thing, dude. If he's a part-timer and he can still do some flippy shit, I'm still fine with him.
Hey, yeah, well, let's go and talk about that. Why don't you bring up fucking Cassius Ono then?
Well, I feel like that's rude. I think there's a weird window of fat shaming that you're only supposed to be able to do. I feel with Jericho, you get a pass because you go, he's too old. You can't really fat shame him. Plus, he's given us a lot of quality entertainment. And with Cassius Ono, I think you just go like, oh no, Cassius.
So what if the Undertaker was fat now?
I think the Undertaker's getting a little hefty.
Yeah, but he has his chest is like he has like Kofi pecs, so it kind of like thins out.
Here's what happens. The Undertaker does this thing where, and I try to recommend this to people when they have the singlet straps, you don't always have to take them off. But the Undertaker looks like he's taking them off like he's in his living room and just came in from a long day and it's just like, and when he does that, I go, hey man, I see the gut and I don't expect you to be super in shape. So, Derek McCall just asked, if you guys are the heel section, does that mean we cheer Baron Corbin? I'll let you take this one, Mike.
Absolutely. Well, you have to appreciate Baron Corbin, and that's what I was asking. I was actually got into a conversation with my brother.
No.
That's why the Forgotten Sons work. There's no more ugly wrestlers. Back in the day in the 90s or in the late 80s, there used to be like fat, ugly wrestlers that would be annoying. They don't have that anymore. Everybody's jacked. So you got to be as annoying as possible to be a heel. The Forgotten Sons and Baron Corbin are like the only 2 true heels that people like shit on these days. So yeah, you have to cheer them. You have to appreciate them. Everything, Jericho said it himself, like everything from your hair to your boots have to either signify heel or face. Like everything has to be as annoying. And Baron Corbin in his little TJ Fridays getup, like he might as well start wearing flair.
God, I hope so.
When he comes, it's like 37 pieces of flair and makes reference to Office Space and the whole night, just like a total douche. Or a 5-second rule, whatever.
That's pretty great though. If he did come around and just be like, "Hey, I just wanted to check in on you guys here at Raw. Is everything going okay? Can I get you guys something?" No? Okay, well I'm gonna come back in 5 minutes anyway.
He kind of does that already. That's how people take him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's great because he's annoying. That's why MJF is a heel, right? He's like the number 1 heel, but he's great. He's fucking hilarious. He's charismatic. He's almost like their version of the Miz, to where you're like, I see
Yeah.
what you're doing, but we
Oh,
love it.
I think MJF is playing on a much more sophisticated level than The Miz. The Miz just has maybe a little more time on him, but MJF, when I see him, I just go, yeah, no, I get it. I'm there. The moment he looked at Brett, and Brett just doesn't even care. Brett's like, yeah, I'm here to give you the title. And then he just smiles in the Brett smile that he can do. I go, yeah, no, this is accomplishing a lot. And I think his following, I was kind of checking to see what bumps these guys got on their social media. I think he got a pretty sizable bump. So that made me really happy. And it tells me if they gave him that much mic time at a prominent middle slot, it tells me they're not afraid to let him go out and do his thing. And I know that it's one of those, hey man, this is gonna have some good replay value. So I was very pleased by that whole section. And I think it just gave a slight preview of where they may go with him. And I'm into it.
Well, that's how they quote unquote build a new star. Like they had to show that they had the potential for doing that on
Yeah.
a one off. How's TV ever going to work if they can't do it? Like you said, if they can't get the Winslows over
Well,
on a
Dirk,
show.
Dirk
of
says
perfect
Brett is seeing something special. That's why he was smiling. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes
Oh.
with well, no. I think he means that he sees something special in MJF, and I think
I
that's
thought you
true.
meant for
No, don't go there.
No, I wasn't going to go anywhere. I think he was doing his best Bill Hader impression by not wanting to break every 4 seconds, because MJF was actually being hilarious.
When he's just like, "Oh, I'm a fan, Brett," and I go, "Yeah, it's pretty funny." I mean, I could see so many people do that joke and it not take off, but it landed. It was good. What more can you ask? And that's the whole reason why, if you're a legend, and especially if you can't bump, that's what you're supposed to do, is come and set up the new guys. And if you can't bump, then you just have to like sit there and take it, and then in the back be like, "Dude, that was so good."
And then go bump yourself. Like, you think Brett's that addicted to bumping that he just trips himself just so he can take a bump on the way out?
Nah, Brett's just not gonna bump for no reason. He's gonna have a whole storyline to it. He's like, "All right, so when I bump, I want you guys to kind of, it's not just a bump; it's a metaphor of past 20 years. But I want to show that I haven't lost my smile." They're gonna be like, "Whatever you say, Brett. Just fall down real quick, and we're good. Love you, buddy. Okay, let's go."
I just can't get the picture of the Undertaker taking his straps off like he's tired. Like, I've always thought that WWE Network should do like reboots of like sitcoms, and like that'd be great. Like if the Undertaker was Al Bundy.
No,
like
no.
Kane-
I
Kane
see.
Richards and
I
Darcy.
see Undertaker as 100% the King of Queens coming in and being like, "Leah Michelle, oh man, it's a tough day in hell." you know,
Yeah, I wanted to write My Two Sweet Dads with remember My Two Dads when with the two dudes, Paul Reiser and the dude with hair raised the girl.
the person
and
who I
Dick
thought was George Michael when I was a kid, I was like, "Oh, Paul Reiser and George Michael have a sitcom. Good for them."
But Dick Butkus had a bar like below their complex.
That's right.
But I wanted to rewrite it with Scott Hall and Razor Ramon had to raise a kid.
"Hey, yo, this baby's crazy," being like,
Just
Yep.
with like the stock laugh track.
Nah, you know what though? I'm feeling a little bit more Three Men and a Baby with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and maybe X-Pac. I've gotta workshop it a little bit. I'm not sure.
You're gonna limit. Okay, that's good.
So I don't know. And maybe the little lady's like the daughter's name is China. I don't know. It might get weird calling it that, but we'll see. So there's all that. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're starting to round the corner. Let's do this. Mike, do you have anything left to bring up before we sign off for
Yeah,
today?
we were rounding the corner when I got put on the spot with GSP.
Well, now we're really rounding the corner. This is a professional show. Come on.
No, I always enjoy talking to you and letting it out, even though I know I'm all over the place with, I had to go back to the Undertaker bridge and my mind just kind of spits down. But yeah, no, wrestling's been cool.
Wrestling's
Wrestling's been very fun. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan.
Well, let's keep in mind there's a few things coming up. I know they're going to have another AEW event in a couple weeks' time, so that's really good. WWE is going to be in fucking Saudi Arabia again.
Well, they're in the Saudi Arabia, and then they're really high on the NXT, the British one, because they're having it the same day as All Out. But have we not mentioned the fact that they're doing a knockoff Fyre Fest with the Fighter Fest?
Yeah.
I mean, how genius is that? And that kind of adds to them staying on the pulse of, like, if they only sign Ja Rule, could they please book Ja Rule? Like, what's Ja Rule's asking price, do you think?
It's murder! So that's
exactly.
his asking.
Where would I be without you, Raph?
Yeah.
Where would I be without you?
Oh, that era when we thought, you know what, Ja Rule will let you sing your way out of things. I just don't know how we let him get away with so much.
Does Ja Rule bark?
No, that was DMX, which, by the way, did bother me. Apparently it didn't bother as many other people at the time, but to me I was like, why is this grown man barking? And why is he named after a bicycle? I just can't do that.
A BMX.
Well, it's the same thing. Because he would just be like yelling you and he'd bark and it'd be like, that's not rap. And people would be like, he speaks to my soul. And I was like, well, your soul's dumb. And don't get me wrong, Party Up's a great song, but you know what I mean? We don't need that in our life. Big shout out to our good friend Josh Leduc, who is going to be on Verbal Tap tonight. I'm very excited for that. He's listening to this. And Josh is a catch wrestler, and he actually did a submission for WWE BJJ Week. It was okay.
It was average.
It was okay. I was very happy he did one. I will say that, and he got some good cameos in it. It was very stoked.
Is that what you're going for? Average? It's good. You're pulling it off.
No, I mean, it was good. You know what I mean? He's a talented guy. He gets very vicious heel hooks. But he and I'm going to give him a private on how to get over, I think.
I saw that little video you sent.
Which one?
I saw that little video. That's what you tell him. I saw that little video and it was good.
I wouldn't do it like that. I'm very upbeat and being like, that's great. But then I also remind people, you will never be the champion that I am. So.
Well, say hi to Kevin for me.
I will definitely say hello to him. Ladies and gentlemen, the party's going to continue over on Verbal Tap. You will hear that episode later. I think tomorrow we will release it. But for now, you guys are going to check out the rest of this show or any other of the shows that we have here. You can check us out at Real Heel Section on most major social media, or you can go to our YouTube and check out Heel Section on its own. That's going to do it for us here today. My name is Rafa Esparza. Thank you guys for tuning in on behalf of my good friend Mike Stallings. We'll see you guys very soon.
Mike Stallings.
I don't think... Are you supposed to say something else?
Oh, too sweet me.
Okay, better. Okay, good. I thought you were a malfunctioning Pokemon.
Where would I be without you?
No.